Well, thank you all for joining us, and thank you to our guest speaker today, which is Serge Sommer. Is that how you would say it?
Serge Sommer. Thank you very much to invite me. I'm very happy to be here with you and with all the people who can see this video.
Oh, it's wonderful. And we have Francois, who's going to help us with translation.
Hi.
Yeah, it's a lot of joy in this. Our interest is definitely in Jesus' psychotherapy program. So we're going to hear from Serge today. I think I realized I need to pause for you, Francois, so you can translate.
I think Serge understood. He said he's going to do...
Okay, he'll let you know when you... Yeah. Okay. So we're going to hear, it was fascinating. His presentation caught my attention when he was talking about Jesus as a psychotherapist. And because we're interested in that in terms of really healing the mind, healing denials, in these internal denials that we have of who we are. And we'll hear how he feels that translate, but we're very interested. So thank you for joining us. And it'll be a question and answer. I'll ask questions and of course, at the end, if you have any comments.
François, please.
Oui, elle dit qu'elle est très excitée de parler avec toi à propos de la psychothérapie de Jésus et de la guérison de l'esprit. Et que s'il y a des commentaires et des affaires, tu ne te gênes pas, tu les fais.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so what caught again this idea that Jesus is a psychotherapist? So we'd like to know, how did you develop these ideas for yourself? What brought you to that conclusion?
Oh, it was a long process. Do you know the Gospel of Thomas?
Yes.
It's comment on dit, François, paroles? Paroles de Jésus.
Words of Jesus.
It's words of Jesus will be found in Egypt in 1945. And it's maybe the first words of Jesus who was right. And I met in 1987. I was 20. I was young. I met Émile Gilabert, who writes one of the first traduction of the Gospel of Thomas. And I was very interested by these words because they were not, François, please, elles n'étaient pas commentées, ces paroles, elles n'étaient pas narrées.
C'est the words of Jesus on Thomas were not narrated, were not commented.
Just the words. So we can réfléchir beaucoup sur ces paroles.
We could reflect a lot on these words because they weren't commented before.
I was studying these words since 32 years. This book, I'll show you. This book of Émile Gilabert is on the table near my bed since 32 years. Not 32 years when I write my book. Now I'm 56 this year. So I learned this book since 36 years. Since I was 20, you know? And I think in this book, some things I found in Lao Tzu, in the Taoism, in the Buddhism, with Confucius, words more than Gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. You know. And at first, I didn't see that was words of medicine therapist. I don't think of that. And when I was 46, how I said, François, j'ai repris mes études.
He start back his studies.
Yes. To become a psychanalyst.
Become a psychanalyst.
Psychoanalyst, maybe?
Psychoanalyst, yeah.
Okay. Psychoanalyst. And then one day there was an intervention conference. How I say conference?
Conference.
Conference, okay, it's the same word. Pendant ma formation.
During his formation.
Yes. And then this conference, the speaker told us a word of Freud, Sigmund Freud. And he spoke of that I try to speak. I'm sorry, it's difficult for me, but
it's beautiful. I will try. It's beautiful.
It was speaking of this word of Freud that the man, adult man, is the creation of the child. So the child was the father of the man. And then I said, I think, I thought, I don't know, I thought in myself, if the child is the father of the man, the adult man, because the man is the creation of the child, the creation, the child creation, maybe. So when Jesus speaks of le royaume du Père, the Father's
kingdom of the Father,
the kingdom of the Father, the Father's kingdom, maybe the Father's kingdom is the kingdom of the child, the inside child.
The inner child.
So I think if I take a look to the Gospel of Thomas and I read all words between the prism of this theory, maybe it will be good. There is in the Gospel of Thomas 114 words. So I think in myself, maybe this theory of Freud of the Father's kingdom, who's the child, will be good for 1, 2, maybe 20 words of Jesus. And then I tried to work a lot, and it was good for the 114 words. That's why I wrote this book, because all the words of Jesus, I think, spoke of the child who is the father. And then if you, in psychoanalysis, if you be out of the ego, you will find again the child's kingdom. And that's why when Jesus said, if you see the light, you will find the Father's kingdom. But the Father's kingdom is the kingdom of the child, of the only thing who lives in us. I don't know if I'm clear. Est-ce que j'ai été clair ou est-ce que Kay a des questions?
Oui, c'est bien. He wants to know if you have questions, Kay, if it was clear for you or...
So are you talking to like a primordial innocence being the child? It's just innocence.
As-tu compris? Oui.
Ça parle de l'innocence de l'enfant.
Elle veut savoir si tu parles de l'innocence première d'un enfant.
Oui, l'innocence première, mais aussi l'enfant intérieur qui est la seule personne qui vit.
He was talking about that the inner child is the only one that is really living.
That
alive.
Can really what?
Alive, that is really alive.
Oh, aliveness.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the adult don't exist. The adult is a mask. But there is not real adult. We are only child who has grown.
Ah.
Ouais.
Je dis souvent, François, en nous, il y a deux personnes. Il y a la personne qui pense et la personne qui respire.
He said that in us, there's only two persons, the one that is thinking and the one that is breathing.
The one that is thinking and the one that is breathing?
Yeah, yeah.
And the only real person who lives is the person who's breathing. The person who's thinking is not real. We are thinking at 2 years old. 2 years old. Before 2 years old, we don't know that we are living. We don't know that we are born. We don't know that we are going to die. We just, we are just. After 2 years old, we understand that there's a beginning when we were born, and one day there will be the end when we were dying, and then we are someone. But before we are thinking we are someone, we are not someone. We are just. And I think Jesus invite us to feel the only person who's breathing, the real person, the only who lives.
So there are many healing modalities, right? You know, there's all kinds of psychological programs. Did you have a specific, did you feel, okay, here's how he's teaching psychotherapy, or here's how, I'm assuming you're, here, that he's teaching healing in some way, because psychotherapy is a healing modality, right?
François, please.
Oui, ben, c'est la question numéro 3. Elle dit que la guérison psychologique, c'est une modalité que Jésus enseignait, d'après toi?
Oui.
So what do you see his psychotherapy program as?
Alors, qu'est-ce que tu crois que était le programme de psychothérapie de Jésus?
Alors, in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus speaks to all people, but especially to psychotherapists and psychoanalysts. A lot of words can tell that, like the Logan 5, la parole numéro 5, qui dit « Connais celui qui est devant ton visage et ce qui t'est caché. »
Know the one that is before your face and that it's hidden.
Et ce qui t'est caché te sera dévoilé.
And what is hidden will be revealed to you.
So I think to a word of Carl Gustav Jung, the psychoanalyst, who said, tant que l'inconscient ne sera pas conscient,
as long as the unconscious will not be conscious,
il dirigera votre vie
he will direct your life,
et vous appellerez cela le destin.
and you will call it destiny.
You know? Another word, maybe. A very important word, more for psychoanalysts, because you know, to be psychotherapist or psychology, you must learn at university. You learn in books. Yes. I know, I understand all things. So now I'm a I'm a psychotherapist, but I don't look inside. But to be psychoanalyst, you must have done your psychoanalysis to be psychoanalyst. So it's a word very, very, very important of Jesus to say that. He said, I tell in French and François will translate, avant d'enlever la paille dans l'œil de ton frère.
Before we remove the straw in the eyes of your brother,
enlève la poutre qui est dans ton œil.
Remove the beam that is inside your eyes.
Et tu y verras plus clair.
And then you will see clearly.
Pour aider ton frère à enlever la paille dans son œil.
To be able to remove the straw from your brother's eyes.
So it's only philosophy of psychoanalyst. You must look inside and see your névrose. Régler nos névroses.
Névroses. Yeah.
And after, vous pouvez accompagner le patient sur son chemin.
And after you can walk with your patients along the road.
Oh, that's really.
Sur le Logion 14, 14 words of Jesus, he said, ce qui entrera dans votre bouche ne vous souillera pas, mais ce qui sortira de votre bouche, c'est cela qui vous souillera.
What is coming from inside your mouth will not spoil you, but what will come out from your mouth can spoil you.
He says, listen to your patient, le patient. Listen to him and be careful of what you say, because what you say can be not good for this patient. It's maybe not the time for him. And what you are going to say will be maybe des projections.
Might be projection.
Yeah. So be careful of that. Listen to him with your heart, with your inconscience. But be careful of what you have to say. That's why the psychoanalyst is often in the silence. Only sometimes he said, oh, you say that. You say that and you say that. You can faire des liens.
Yeah, make a
link.
Between the two. That's really beautiful. And I want to say, I'm going to provide a link in this video at the bottom to the gospel so that you can look through these things that he's talking about.
J'ai pas compris.
Elle a dit qu'elle trouve ça très intéressant puis qu'elle va mettre en bas du vidéo un lien pour le gospel de Thomas.
It's a very important. I think cela résonne avec d'autres philosophies.
This is resounding with other philosophies.
Les accords Toltec, par exemple.
I don't know the Toltec accord.
In South America, accord Toltec. Do you know the 4 accords Toltec? The Miguel Ruiz book. Do you know?
I'm not familiar with this, but we could put a link to it in YouTube if you have one. I'm not familiar with it.
Mm-hmm. And the link with, of course, Confucius, Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching, Buddha. That's why I think, and I think Jesus told us that there's an inconscience, a collective inconscience. I think there's not God. I don't believe in God, a God who will be outside of us. I think all is God. I prefer to call it universal conscience. But it's important to know that universal conscience is not conscience of herself. To be conscious of herself, the universal conscience passe par nous.
Go through us, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes through us.
So we are the chance of universal conscience to be conscious.
We are the channel, you mean? On est le canal?
Nous sommes le canal.
We are the channel.
Nous sommes la chance de la conscience universelle de prendre conscience d'elle-même.
Yeah, we are the chance of the universal consciousness to be conscious of itself.
But the problem that our conscience ne sert pas à ça, mais ne sert qu'à notre ego. Comment pourrait-on dire, François?
Ça l'a coupé, j'ai pas compris.
Notre conscience ne sert pas à ça, mais ne sert que notre ego.
He said that our consciousness is not used to that, is only be used by our ego now.
That's why Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas said, we are coming on earth empty, and maybe we are going to leave this earth empty. It's ridiculous.
So how, in the context of this, how would you define what he's saying about the ego?
François, please.
Elle dit, dans ce contexte, comment tu définirais ce qu'il dit à propos de l'ego?
L'ego est là pour, comme l'adulte, c'est notre carapace, c'est notre interface.
L'ego is like our adult, it's our interface.
Il est nécessaire.
It is necessary.
Il faut d'abord, en psychanalyse, le fortifier, cet ego.
First, we need to make strong analysis.
Mais une fois que l'ego est fortifié, il a un pouvoir et il faut renoncer à ce pouvoir.
And once it is fortified, it has a power. Then after, we have to renounce this power.
That's why Jesus said in the Gospel of Thomas que celui qui s'est fait riche, qu'il se fasse roi.
That's the one who has made himself rich as to become a king.
So rich, not rich by money, but rich dans ce qu'il aura appris.
Not rich with money, but rich with what he has learned.
Et qu'il se fasse roi, c'est-à-dire qu'il rayonne de son savoir pour les autres.
That he become a king means that he will shine of his what he learned to others.
Shine with his own light.
With his own light.
And then, tout ça amène un pouvoir. Donc Jésus dit, et que celui qui a le pouvoir, qu'il renonce.
All this is bringing power, and Jesus said, is the one that has power has to renounce this power.
L'ego est très important, c'est notre interface.
L'ego is very important, it's our interface.
Mais l'ego est au service de celui qui respire.
But the ego is at service to the one that is breathing.
Et l'ego et celui qui respire ne doivent faire qu'un.
And the ego and the one that is breathing must be one.
Et alors, l'un pourra faire un avec le monde.
And then that one can make one with the world.
Ce que Jésus dit, c'est que nous sommes deux. Nous sommes moi vivant et moi mort.
What Jesus said, he said that we are two, one that is alive and one that is dead.
That is dead.
Mais c'est une erreur.
But it's a mistake.
Il dit que ces deux-là ne fassent qu'un et vous ne goûterez pas de la mort.
And he said that those two make one and you will not taste death.
That's good.
Yeah.
Don't taste dead.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, François.
yeah, that's beautiful. So it's the psychotherapy would be washing away the idea of more than one.
Elle dit que la psychothérapie serait de nettoyer tout ce qui est autre que de la pensée qu'on est un.
Oui, oui.
So, because you're pointing to a lot of non-dual traditions.
Parce que tu pointes sur beaucoup de traditions non dualistiques.
Oui, oui.
Which, yeah.
C'est les gnostiques, les gnostiques de la première époque chrétienne.
Gnostics? Yeah, from the first area, Christian area.
We are all universal conscience. And the mistake is that we think that we are une entité.
Yeah, an entity.
An entity. We think we are an entity, so we are suffering. That's the mistake. And Jesus say, I got another word of Jesus. So it's not a word comes from the Gospel of Thomas, but I saw this word somewhere, I don't know when, and I think it was the most beautiful word of Jesus. So I keep this word for la citation en première page de mon livre.
La citation in the first page of his book.
And this word, it's in this inscription.
Une inscription, yeah, une inscription.
Sur la grande mosquée.
Sur la grande, yeah, on the great mosque.
De Faitepur Sikri, au nord de l'Inde.
In the north of India.
And sur cette inscription sur la mosquée, il est écrit.
On this inscription on the mosque, it's written.
Jesus, peace is on him, said, the word is a bridge. Passe dessus,
Cross it,
mais ne t'y établis pas à demeure.
but don't stay there. Don't live there.
Don't build a house in the middle of the bridge.
Mm.
And the bridge is not only the bridge from when you're born and when you die. Également, aussi, also, the bridge from the conscience of your entity, of your ego, to the conscience of you are the universal conscience. It's a word who have a lot of facets, beaucoup de facettes.
Yeah, angles.
A lot of angles.
So, as a practical matter, what do you feel like Jesus was saying for getting back to that recognition? Because it feels like we're talking about recognition of wholeness already here.
François, please.
Elle dit que tu parles beaucoup de la reconnaissance de l'unité ici. What was your question, Kay?
Well, that if we can just use this word wholeness, this totality.
Si on peut utiliser le mot totalité ou oneness, l'unité, si tu veux. Ouais, l'unité.
It's already here. And then Jesus is saying, okay, it's here. And then something's blocking the seeing of that.
Elle dit que c'est déjà ici, mais il y a quelque chose qui bloque notre conscience de cette unité-là.
Oui.
And then a practical matter like psychotherapy, okay, how do you cross that bridge?
D'une façon pratique, en psychothérapie, comment on traverse ce pont-là?
Bien, en psychanalyse, on est là pour écouter les mots de l'inconscient à travers le discours du conscient.
In psychoanalysis, we're here to listen to the unconscious through the words that are conscious.
At first. En
premier, at first.
Que d'abord la personne se reconnaisse elle-même, aille à la rencontre d'elle-même.
That the person meet itself first.
Qu'elle parvienne à sortir de ces schémas sociétaux et culturels.
She could get out of this image of culture and social culture.
Par exemple, dans l'évangile de Thomas, Jésus dit,
as example in Thomas' Gospel, Jesus say,
celui qui ne réfute pas son père et sa mère ne pourra pas être mon disciple.
The one that doesn't refuse his father and mother cannot be resuscitated. Yeah.
Refuser veut dire refuser le jugement.
To be refused means to refuse the judgment.
Par exemple, si les parents veulent que je sois médecin,
if the parents want me to be doctor,
mais que dans mon cœur, je veux être chanteur,
but in my heart, I want to be a singer.
Je ne vais pas gâcher ma vie pour faire médecin.
I will not spoil my life to be a doctor.
Je vais refuser le jugement de mes parents et je vais être chanteur.
I will refuse the judgment of my parent and I will become a singer.
C'est ça que disait Jésus.
That's what Jesus was saying.
Par exemple aussi, si mes parents sont très catholiques et refusent l'homosexualité.
Like if my parents, as an example, if my parents are very Catholic and they refuse homosexuality.
Et que moi je suis homosexuel.
And I am homosexual.
Je dois accepter mon homosexualité, même si mes parents ne l'acceptent pas.
I have to accept my homosexuality, even if my parent doesn't accept it.
Combien de jeunes homosexuels se suicident?
How many young homosexuals kill themselves?
Parce qu'ils ne sont pas acceptés par leurs parents et par la société.
Because they're not accepted by their parents and the society.
La psychanalyse, c'est simplement et naturellement s'accepter soi-même.
Psychoanalysis is accept ourselves simply.
Avec nos qualités et nos défauts.
With our quality and with our default.
Et c'est ça que disait Jésus.
And that's what Jesus was saying.
so that judgment becomes the block to the awareness of wholeness.
Alors, le jugement devient le blocage de l'unité.
Oui, oui. Et souvent, notre propre jugement, ce qu'en psychanalyse on appelle le surmoi.
Et souvent, notre propre jugement, ce qu'en psychanalyse on appelle je ne sais pas le terme en anglais là, pour le surmoi.
You know, Freud désignait 3 termes, le moi, le ça et le surmoi.
Okay.
The word of Freud, you know, this, me, and super me, you know, the policeman of ourself.
Okay.
The policeman of ourself who said always, you must do that. You'd better do this. You don't have to. It's not ourself. It's the judgment of the surmoi. And the psychoanalyst must break this one to let ourselves born and just be that we are.
Alors, le surmoi, ce serait l'ego?
Non, le surmoi, c'est le gendarme du moi. C'est celui qui dit « tu ne dois pas, il ne faut pas, ça c'est pas bien, ça c'est bien ». Parce que ce qui n'est pas bien et ce qui est bien change selon les époques, les cultures, les civilisations.
So, Francois, you might need to translate that.
Well, he called it the surmoi, and I asked him if the surmoi was the ego, the super me. He said, no, it is the policeman inside my mind that's telling me that's good, that's no good, whatever. So you see a difference between the ego and this.
Et le surmoi, ce qui est bien et ce qui est pas bien, change selon les civilisations et change selon les époques.
Alors, what is good and what is not good, the super me is changed according to the situation and the times. Yeah.
Mais il ne faut pas tout jeter.
But we don't have to throw everything away.
Parce que dans le surmoi, il y a aussi les fondements de l'humanité.
Because in the super me, there's also the foundation of humanity.
L'interdit de l'inceste.
The incest interdiction, taboo. Yeah.
Et l'interdit du cannibalisme, par exemple.
And the taboo of cannibalism also, for example.
Donc, la psychanalyse nous permet de choisir ce que l'on veut garder des règles du surmoi et ce qu'on veut rejeter, ce qui nous appartient.
Alors, the psychoanalysis make us able to choose between what we want to accept and what we want to reject.
Et ça, c'était le discours de Jésus.
And he said that the discourse of Jesus.
De ne pas se mentir à soi-même.
Do not lie to yourself. Yeah.
So there's been some interesting discussions on this psychotherapy forum about Jesus.
Elle dit qu'elle a entendu beaucoup de choses intéressantes dans le forum de psychothérapie à propos de Jésus.
And what he's teaching.
Qu'il enseigne.
And it seemed like maybe Jung was, there was an idea that the Gnostics were trying to get back to wholeness. But it feels like the Gnostics were really trying to see wholeness, what you're talking about.
Don't understand.
Elle dit que sur le forum, elle réalisait que, Jung parlait beaucoup que les gnostiques essayaient de trouver l'unité, le un, et de savoir ce que tu en penses, toi.
De Carl Jung.
Des gnostiques.
Le problème des gnostiques, c'est que on sait très peu de choses sur eux.
Problem with the gnostic is that we know very little about them.
Parce que les premiers chrétiens au IIIe siècle,
Because the first Christian in the third
century,
century
ont tout détruit des gnostiques
has destroyed everything about the Gnostic.
et ont détruit l'évangile selon Thomas.
And I've destroyed also the Thomas Gospel.
C'est pour ça qu'on en a très peu aujourd'hui.
That's why we have very little today.
Donc, ce qu'on savait sur les gnostiques, on le sait par les hérésiologues, c'est-à-dire les premiers chrétiens qui ont détruit les textes et qui étaient leurs détracteurs.
What we know, it's about the first Christian. The only thing we know, it's about the first Christian to destroy whatever they did. So that's all we know about them.
Donc, si ce qu'on sait, on le sait par ceux qui les chassaient, on n'a pas un avis.
So if what we know about the Gnostic are given to us by those ones that was chasing after them, so we don't have a good view of what they were. Yeah.
Je pense que, alors après, le mouvement gnostique, à partir du IIe siècle, est devenu dualiste.
After the second century, the Gnostic movement became dualistic.
Mais les premiers gnostiques, notamment les Esséniens,
But the first Gnostic, the Essenian,
étaient monistes, c'est-à-dire recherchaient le un.
They were looking for the oneness.
So are there how was what you're talking about received by psychotherapists, other psychotherapists? Does it feel in alignment with the general beliefs about psychotherapy, or are there any differences?
François, please.
Oui, elle demande comment la thèse à propos de ce que toi tu as fait a été acceptée par les autres psychothérapeutes. Est-ce que ça a été bien accepté ou?
Oui, ça a été ma thèse de fin d'études.
Est-ce que ça a été bien accepté par les autres?
Oui, très bien, parce que
Yes, very well.
Les gens qui l'ont lu, en tout cas.
For the one that have read it, yes.
Parce que le problème, c'est que ceux qui ne croient pas ont vu Jésus et ils se sont dit non, je veux pas lire Jésus.
Those who doesn't believe have seen the word Jesus and they said no, I don't want to believe in Jesus.
Et ceux qui croient en Jésus ont dit ah mais non, je veux pas lire ça, c'est pas catholique.
And those who believe in Jesus, they say I don't want to say that because it's not Catholic.
Il faut bien comprendre que l'histoire de Jésus est la plus grande falsification de l'histoire.
We have to understand that the story of Jesus is the biggest falsification of history.
At first, Jesus said that hell and Eden, le paradis, heaven and hell are not after and out there, but is now and here for this one who dépassera l'ego et entendra son inconscient.
The one that would overcome his ego and listening to his unconscious.
Pour celui qui se connaîtra lui-même.
For the one that will know himself.
And when he died, they said, no, Jesus said heaven and hell are after death and out there, not for who knows himself, but for who knows the God law.
Mm.
Non pas pour celui, le paradis sera après et ailleurs, pas pour celui qui se connaît lui-même, mais pour celui qui connaît la loi de Dieu.
And it was saying that heaven and hell is not going to be after, but for those one that knows the law of God.
Alors ils ont transformé les paroles de Jésus
Yeah, transform the words of Jesus
à des fins politiques,
at politic means
pour contenir le peuple, puisque la religion était la politique.
to be able to contain the people because the religion was politic. Yeah.
What I think is interesting about this, and I'm not an expert on psychotherapy, okay? So my psychotherapy friends are going to probably correct.
Ça ne plaira pas à ses amis thérapeutes, c'est ça?
Ouais, c'est ça.
Okay.
Yes.
Why?
Well, I'm going to say because when in the discussions that I've had, you're talking about a very important presupposition.
Elle dit, dans ce que tu as parlé, tu parles d'une vraiment proposition intéressante, vraiment difficile à comprendre.
Which in the presupposition is, which I feel strongly about as well, is it begins with wholeness. The wholeness is already here.
Alors, dans la préposition, c'est que tu dis que l'unité est déjà ici.
Oui, le paradis et l'enfer,
And
tout est déjà là.
Everything is already there.
And I think there's some talk about it if you look at Jung and Fromm, it's kind of, but it doesn't seem like that's a major tenet of psychotherapy, that wholeness is already here. Or am I wrong?
Elle dit qu'avec Freud et Fromm et Jung, il y a déjà une idée de l'unité, mais que ce n'est pas présent maintenant avec les autres psychothérapeutes.
Tout est présent, mais tout est dans l'inconscient. C'est comme
everything is present, but it's in the unconscious.
C'est un petit peu comme le mythe de la caverne de Platon.
It's a little bit like the cavern of Platon.
Plato, yeah.
Plato.
But is that a general premise that I'm missing out of psychotherapy? That because this wholeness presupposition is really important for perspective, from my perspective.
Elle demande si c'est manquant dans la psychothérapie parce que d'après elle, c'est vraiment important l'idée de l'unité.
Do you see? Because your mind, where you come from, in your perspective, that kind of informs where you're coming from therapeutically.
Parce que d'où tu viens à propos de cette idée-là d'unité, c'est ce qui va former ta psychothérapie que tu exerces.
So that's why I'm curious whether that is a fundamental presupposition currently in psychotherapy, that the wholeness is there.
Elle veut savoir si en psychothérapie, c'est vraiment un fondement que l'unité est là ou c'est que toi.
And then it's merely, yeah.
It's only me. It's only me.
Yes.
But at first, and I don't say psychotherapy. Psychotherapy, we are en face à face, inside of me.
One to one. Yeah.
And the job is to soulager le symptôme.
The symptom.
I'm not psychotherapist. I'm psychoanalyst.
Oh, psychoanalyst.
Then les gens sont allongés sur le divan.
Then the people
je suis derrière eux.
Are lying on the couch.
Et je suis derrière eux.
And he is behind them.
Et c'est eux qui font le travail.
And that's Moi, them doing the work.
Je suis là pour entendre ce que leur inconscient raconte.
He's there to listen to what their unconscious is saying.
À travers leurs rêves.
Through their dreams.
Leur lapsus.
Their lapses.
The missing act. Les actes manqués.
The missing act.
Et quand le patient est allé à la rencontre de lui-même,
when the patient is encountering himself,
alors seulement il peut s'ouvrir à cette spiritualité. Mais ce n'est pas le premier but de la thérapie.
only then he can open to that spirituality, but it's not the only goal of therapy.
Well, yeah.
La différence entre la psychothérapie et la psychanalyse, en psychothérapie, on cherche à enlever le symptôme.
The difference between psychotherapy and psychoanalyse is that in psychotherapy, we try to remove the symptoms.
Oui. Alors que la psychanalyse, nous cherchons à comprendre le symptôme.
In psychoanalysis, we try to understand the symptoms.
Le symptôme est un langage.
The symptoms are a language.
Et le symptôme raconte quelque chose.
The symptoms tell something.
C'est le corps qui raconte quelque chose.
It's the body that's saying something.
Comme si celui qui respire disait quelque chose à celui qui pense.
Like the one that is breathing saying something to the one who is thinking.
Parce que celui qui pense ne veut pas écouter, il ne veut pas savoir.
Because the one that is thinking doesn't want to know, doesn't want to listen.
Alors le symptôme force le corps pour parler.
Then the symptom is forcing the body to talk.
And that's coming. I just feel I want to stay on this presupposition of wholeness, because any analysis and perspective is going to come out of if out of wholeness. You know, if we're looking at from analysis what's blocking wholeness, the recognition of wholeness.
Je veux parler de la présupposition que en fait, l'unité est en premier là. C'est ce qui bloquerait la compréhension de l'unité.
It's to me, that's a very profound difference where you're coming from and how you're going to really perceive what's coming up out of the unconscious mind and what it means.
Elle dit que pour elle, c'est vraiment important que ce concept-là soit là pour que tu puisses comprendre ce qui vient de l'inconscient et que tu puisses le travailler avec.
If the perspective of that subconscious content is blocking the awareness of the totality, that's a really important thing for me when I look at it.
So I didn't get it. Okay.
Well, if that subconscious, that unconscious content is what's blocking the awareness of wholeness.
I don't get it. Sorry. It's a little
okay, so if you start from the perspective of everything whole, and then the recognition is that looking at how subconscious content, what's in the subconscious mind blocks that.
She was talking, elle parle que l'inconscient bloque ce qui est bloque la compréhension de l'unité. Je ne sais pas si c'est ce que tu veux dire, mais
that is a fundamental perspective. I mean, that's a point of view that changes the whole game at what you're looking at in psychoanalysis or psychotherapy.
Elle dit que ce point de vue-là, d'après elle, c'est ce qui est important, qui change toute la perspective de la psychothérapie ou de la psychoanalyse.
Oui, c'est pour ça que je comprends. C'est pour ça qu'il faut d'abord
That's why we should first
que prendre conscience de l'inconscient.
To take conscious of the unconscious.
En partie, parce qu'on ne peut pas prendre conscience de tout l'inconscient.
Partly, but not all of it. But
it's impossible. Parce que une fois qu'on se sera réapproprié ce que l'on est.
Once that we will regain what we really are.
Yes.
On pourra débloquer l'inconscient pour trouver cette unité.
Then we can unblock the unconscious so we can find the unity.
Yes.
Ça doit être l'ordre, parce que l'inconscient bloque le conscient.
The unconscious blocking the conscious.
Donc, il faut d'abord débloquer ça.
Then we have to unblock that first.
Yes.
Être dans l'inconscient pour être soi-même,
To be ourselves.
pour découvrir que nous sommes l'un, l'unique.
To discover that we are one.
Yes. But I just feel like what you're saying is I'm still learning about what, psychoanalysis and psychotherapy, kind of the modern version of it.
Il y a beaucoup de versions de psychanalyse et de psychothérapie.
Ouais, elle était en train d'apprendre toutes ces versions-là.
But what I do know about, again, I come from a coaching perspective or, behavioral change, addiction perspective.
Il vient d'un côté, là, plus, là, de changement
And what, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's a presupposition, like once I saw that every behavior was a search for love, everyone was a search for wholeness.
Que tous les comportements étaient une recherche de l'amour puis une recherche de l'unité.
Oui, oui.
Right. That informed then everything that I did, actually. My entire perspective was shaped by that.
Alors, toute sa perspective était basée là-dessus.
So that's why I'm interested in the presuppositions that inform psychotherapy. Is wholeness one of them? The assumption of wholeness, it's this unity. Does that inform psychotherapy?
C'est pour ça qu'elle est intéressée avec cette présupposition de l'unité qui supporte toute la psychothérapie.
Le problème, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup trop de sortes de psychothérapie, de psychanalyse. Et je pense qu'il faut faire simple.
There's too many psychotherapy kind, and that's what we need to make it simple.
And also too much kind of psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis of Freud, psychoanalysis of Jung, psychoanalysis of Lacan.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone in a psychotherapy of Carl Rogers, of Irving Yalom, was beautiful. Some words are beautiful and very interesting from everyone. And we have not to listen and learn only one person. We must take one of him, one other of him, and one other of him, and be simple. We are on disponibility of the patient. We are not to learn to our patient. We are here to listen our patient. I think inconscient of the patient knows. And l'inconscient du patient, c'est tout.
The unconscious of the patient knows everything.
Nous n'avons pas à le diriger,
We don't
mais
have
nous
to
avons.
direct him, but just to listen to it.
Voilà. Parce que chaque personne est différente.
Because each person is different.
But what I can hear and from you, because I was going to ask you, how does this inform how you work with your patients?
De quelle manière je travaille avec mes patients?
And
d'abord, je suis en face à face.
He is one-to-one.
Pour reconstituer le récit de son histoire.
To make the story of his story, the story of the patient.
Et je prends quelques notes.
And he's taking some notes.
Et après, le patient va sur le divan.
And after, the patient goes on the couch.
Et j'essaye, je ne juge pas.
And he doesn't judge.
Et je ne projette pas mes désirs.
And he doesn't project his desire.
Ce que je pense qui est bon pour le patient.
what I think is good for the patient
serait une erreur.
would be an error.
C'est ce que je pense.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mais ce n'est peut-être pas ce qui est bon pour le patient.
But it's probably not what is good for the patient.
Le patient doit être une personne unique dans son vécu et dans sa temporalité.
The patient should be a unique person in his what he is in his temporality.
And what he had lived, ce qu'il a vécu dans son histoire, dans son enfance.
What he has lived in his story, in his childhood.
Et souvent, c'est ce qui s'est passé dans l'enfance qui pose du problème à l'adulte.
And often it's what's happening when he was a child that caused problem as an adult.
Donc, je l'accompagne pour enlever les barrières.
Then I go with them to remove the barriers.
Et comme disait Françoise Dolto,
And like Françoise Dolto was saying,
je vous prête mon oreille pour que vous puissiez mieux vous entendre.
I'm lending you my ears so you can hear yourself better.
C'est une belle phrase.
Right? Yeah, it's nice.
C'est ça, c'est être à la disponibilité de notre patient, avoir notre inconscient disponible pour notre patient.
Yeah, it is to have our unconscious available for our patient.
On lui permet de faire les liens entre ce qu'il dit. Le patient dit des choses, mais il ne fait pas les liens entre ce qu'il dit et ce qu'il a vécu souvent. Donc nous, on lui dit, on repère.
So we make the link between what the patient says and what he has lived before. So we're doing that.
Un peu comme si le discours du patient,
A little bit like the patient talk,
ses symptômes,
his symptoms,
physiques ou psychiques,
physical or psychic.
tout ça était un rébus,
All this is a puzzle.
comme des hiéroglyphes.
Like hieroglyphs, yeah.
Et nous, on lui restitue ce que l'on entend.
And us, we just give him back what we hear.
Parce que ce chemin, on le connaît puisqu'on l'a fait nous-mêmes sur le divan.
Alors, this road, we know it because we ourselves did it on the couch.
Mais
But
on l'a fait avec nos godasses.
we're doing it with our own shoes.
Yes.
Et chaque
Yeah.
patient, on ne peut pas juger ni savoir ce qui est bon pour le patient parce que chacun fait son chemin avec ses chaussures.
Alors, we cannot know what is good for the patient because everyone's doing his road with his own shoes.
He's talking about choice, right? The word choose.
And shoes.
Yes.
No, shoes. No, he's talking about his own experience, his own life, his own shoes. It's an expression.
Oh, walking in shoes. Walking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shoes. Yeah.
Everyone is their own shoes, and okay.
Because, you know, I can't know what is good for my patient because I know the road, but I know the road with my shoes.
Shoes, yes.
I don't know the road with his shoes.
Yeah.
It's very important. Maybe I think you'd better do that or do this, but it's maybe not the time for him. And maybe he can't because his shoes are too small. And maybe I think I know, but my shoes are too large. So we know the road, but everyone take his own road with his own shoes. Do you understand me?
Yes. And what I'm seeing is, and I want to be clear on what I hear you're saying, though, all of this content that what I appreciate about, psychoanalysis, psychotherapy is that it's bringing what's out of awareness into awareness.
Tu as compris? Ce qu'elle apprécie, c'est que la psychothérapie amène ce qui est dans l'inconscient dans le conscient.
Oui.
So that the king is no longer what's out of awareness, like the ego is no longer ruling because it's up into awareness now.
Alors l'ego n'est plus le roi, c'est plus lui qui dirige parce qu'il est maintenant en dehors de la conscience. C'est ce qu'on le voit.
Oui, voilà, on le repère, mais il est toujours dans la conscience. Il est la conscience. L'ego est la conscience.
Oui, mais il y a une partie de nous qui le voit.
Voilà. Et donc, il n'est plus le roi, mais il est le serviteur.
He is no more the king, but is a servant. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And he no longer blocks the truth of wholeness.
Il ne bloque plus la conscience de l'unité.
Voilà.
And I feel that's a very important perspective to come from, that it's blocking wholeness.
Je pense que c'est vraiment une perspective importante là, de savoir que ça bloque la conscience de l'unité.
What's already whole and complete. I mean, this brings together the idea, the spiritual search, and the value that psychotherapy analysis brings to that.
Elle dit que ça ressemble beaucoup à la recherche spirituelle, la psychothérapie, parce que les deux font la même chose, amènent à l'inconscient au conscient.
Oui. Sauf que c'est ce que Jésus disait. Il faut connaître son ego.
That's what Jesus was saying, to know his ego.
Connaître les pièges de l'ego.
To know
les pièges, je ne sais plus comment on dit.
The trap of the ego, yeah.
Pour s'épanouir dans la vraie personne.
To be able to be the real person, to grow in the real person.
Et c'est ce que disait Jésus.
And that's what Jesus was saying.
Mais Jésus disait de faire attention à la spiritualité dans le sens
But Jesus was saying to be careful about spirituality in the sense of
pour que la spiritualité reste la psychothérapie ou la psychanalyse.
That the spirituality stays psychotherapy or psychoanalysis.
Et ne devienne pas la mythologie.
And doesn't become mythology.
Parce que souvent, very often,
because often,
la spiritualité est proche de la mythologie.
Because spirituality becomes close from mythology.
C'est pour ça que Jésus disait dans l'évangile de Thomas,
That's why Jesus was saying in Thomas' Gospel,
quand le disciple est désert,
when the disciple is desert,
empty,
yeah,
il sera rempli de lumière.
he will be filled with light.
Ce qui veut dire
What means
que si le disciple a plein de croyances, qu'il est dans une spiritualité mythologique,
is full of ideas about mythology,
il ne pourra pas recevoir la lumière.
he will not be able to receive the light.
This is very beautiful, Serge. We so appreciate you taking the time. I'd love to talk to you a lot about this, actually.
It's a pleasure for me too. It's a pleasure.
We're so grateful. It's sometimes if you feel it, we can share, where we come from as far as following the teachings of Jesus and healing the mind to see the truth of the light within.
And it's very difficult to speak of this kind of point of view with a lot of people. It's difficult. Some people, you want to speak of Jesus. Oh, no, I don't believe in Jesus. No, but I just want to tell you his word, not his life. And other people, yeah, I want to speak of Jesus. Ah, Jesus was not a God. Ah, no, I don't want to hear that. So it's difficult everywhere to speak calmement
Calmly.
of this point of view and share point of view with people whose interest de s'enrichir de l'autre.
Yeah, to learn from the others.
Well, the beauty that we see in Jesus is that he was in recognition of this wholeness that you'd speak of. You know,
La beauté de ce que Jésus, la beauté de ce que Jésus dit, c'est qu'il reconnaissait l'idée de l'unité.
Oui.
You know, he was purely in that perspective of wholeness.
Il était complètement dans cette perspective de l'unité.
In the expression.
Se reconnaître soi-même pour enfin reconnaître que nous sommes le tout.
To be in a recognition of ourselves so we can finally recognize that we are the whole.
Yes.
C'est très important parce que il dit dans l'évangile de Thomas, it's very important.
Because he said in Thomas' Gospel,
celui qui connaît le tout,
the one that knows the wholeness,
s'il est privé de lui-même,
if he is deprived of himself,
est privé du tout.
He is deprived of the whole, the oneness.
It's so beautiful that you brought this together, really.
C'est pour ça qu'il est important de garder l'ego.
It's important to keep the ego.
Ce n'est pas un ennemi.
It's not an enemy.
S'il est le serviteur.
If he is the servant.
So, Francois, do you have any questions to add to this? Because I know this is a very, Jesus and healing the mind is very much in your focus as well. Did you have any other questions?
I don't have a question. I just have maybe a comment, but I feel this. We're talking about the same thing, and whatever you say, use other words, and it's coming from psychotherapy or whatever, because that I don't know much about. But the essence is the same. It's the same as what I'm doing is the same as what you're doing is the same as Buddha was doing is the same. The truth is will always be the same, and the traps and will always be the traps, and we have to learn them and we have to go beyond them, and we just want the same thing. Everything is here now in the present moment, and that's what I was hearing this morning. It was hard for me because I don't know that world very much, but yes, it's the same. We were saying exactly the same.
Paradise is now and here.
Yes.
Le piège est toujours d'avoir trop de croyances. Les croyances sont un piège.
Yeah. Beliefs are a trap. Yeah. But even there, I think if you use them as a servant, they can be helpful. If they're not the king, anyway.
Well, and that wholeness informs it's possible that we always have access to that in terms of because we know we're whole. I mean, it's a game not to see that wholeness, and we can rely on that actually to inform where we're saying no to ourselves as whole. I don't know if that was clear, but that wholeness is always available to us when we look.
Elle dit que cette unité-là est toujours disponible pour nous quand on regarde et que de ne pas la voir, c'est un jeu, en fait. C'est comme une game.
Oui.
It's a trance. This is like a trance situation of denial. It's a trance. It's a storyline.
C'est comme un déni, c'est comme une transe, c'est comme c'est volontaire, en fait.
So it feels like almost the therapist's job is for us to help support each other break the trance of denying wholeness.
Fait que là, elle pense que l'idée du psychothérapeute, c'est de défaire cette défense-là du déni, en fait.
De sortir de l'illusion.
Oui.
Yes.
Et c'est ce que disait Jésus. Sortir des croyances, sortir de l'illusion Parce que la vérité n'est pas ailleurs, mais elle est en nous.
Yeah, truth is inside of us. It's not outside.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. So thank you for joining. I hope this is just the beginning of a conversation with you.
Thank you very much.
It's maybe difficult to speak in French. It's difficult. So in French and in English, it's more difficult. But well, it's not bad. It's not bad. We can listen ourselves.
Sure, you did very well.
Well, we join in the calling of the heart. We join in the calling of the heart to know the true identity.
Nous sommes rejoints avec le cœur?
Oui, dans l'unité, oui.
Yes.
And that voice, you know, the heart just is the voice of truth there, that voice of truth, and we're joined with you in that.
On s'unit avec toi dans cette voie-là du cœur, puis de l'unité.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Such big hugs and gratitude.
For you too. Thank you to invite me. Thank you, François, to translate.
Merci, Serge. Merci.